How adults learn is different from what we know of the learning of our kids. We're going to talk about the adult education because all our programs are devoted to teaching adults, mostly farmers. In doing so, we will try to walk you through this understanding to answering 5 most important questions related to adult education, which is why do we want to talk about adult education as such? Who are the participants in this process? Where and when does the process take place? What is adult education as such? And how is the adult education taking place? So let's start with the definition that can be actually different, and so many institutions define it in a different way. Also, it is related to the age of adult persons, which is defined differently in the laws of each of the countries in the world. And some countries do have particular laws targeting adult education alone, which gives the importance of this topic on a large scale in educational policies. But the most commonly used is UNESCO's definition, which is an old one, and it states that the adult education is about gaining either further qualifications in the fieldwork of adults or gaining new qualifications in order to obtain another job position. It is most commonly also used to define basic education of adult learners who were not able to previously finish their basic education. So who are the participants in this process? We broadly stated we have providers, which are the educators, and these are our teachers or trainers, and we have adult learners. So educators are teachers who are normally teaching at the higher educational institutions, and in providing adult education, they are actually completing or fulfilling the missions of the university, which is helping communities be better places to live. Also, when we're talking about trainers, then we're looking at most often the NGOs providing adult educational programs in different duration, but using non-formal education methods. And in our programs, this non-formal education of adults is actually what we are looking at. So we're not concerned with basic adult education and formal education. Why is it important to talk about adult education? Well, there are simply different aspects that adult education cherish when they are in the process of learning, differing much of what is happening with teaching our kids and using pedagogical approaches. Adult learners is about respect, is about experience that they have and they want to cherish and share with us. It's about involvement, they want to be involved in the process of learning. And it's about motivation that is different from the children motivation, as children are often motivated by the external factors, while in the case of adults, we're mostly intrigued by our intrinsic motivation factors, which could be different. We either want to, change our job position, or change the company we're working in, maybe we change the career. In today's world, the adult education is taking place everywhere and in every moment of time. And also, it is quite important to say that different modules are possible to be delivered in different formats. Most often, in the non-formal adult education, we use TOT approaches in training others. But it is also possible that these are delivered in virtual settings or on the spot. Most often today, and which is recommended, is that we have blended learning models in teaching adults. And also, there is a question about using AI-based tools to support the adult education. And for many people in Europe and other places in the world, this is also related to the future of adult education.
Good day. My name is Tlangelani Ngonzweni from the Tshwane University of Technology, or TUT, as it's known. Today we have exciting news for Gauteng farmers and farmers around South Africa. TUT will be bringing short learning courses on climate change resilience. This is part of a bigger project called the Master Project, which stands for Managing South Africa and Senegal Sustainability Targets through Empowerment of Rural Areas. So in these courses, we are using agriculture to equip small-scale farmers. So this course, it's titled Climate Change Resilience. So what the course is about, or the objectives of the course, it's to understand what is climate change, the impact of climate change in agriculture, and also we want to help farmers to develop skills to build resilience against climate change and to explore core farm management principles for farmers to mitigate climate change, as well as to assist in applying sustainable practices to improve productivity and profitability in their farms. So the course will be divided into 3 days. In the first day of the training, we will dive into the introduction of climate change. So what this day will be about, we will be telling farmers or teaching farmers what is climate change, causes of climate change, looking at both natural causes as well as human-induced causes of climate change, and also how does agriculture contribute to climate change, because agriculture, it's not just a victim in climate change, it also contributes to the changes in climate. Also, the opportunities for mitigating climate change. We will also look at the impact of global warming. This includes the shifting in rain patterns, shift in temperatures, livestock health, disruption in agricultural systems, and all that. So in the second day of the training, we will be focusing on the impact of climate change on agriculture. So on this day, the theme will be identifying the risks and challenges of climate change in agriculture. So the topics or subtopics that we'll be looking at on this day will be the impact of climate change on crop quality, temperature stress and crop productivity, the shifting planting and harvesting seasons, because we know in South Africa currently, our shifting dates or our planting dates have shifted now. We used to prepare our plantings just mid-spring, because that's when we were expecting the first rain of the year. But now we go up to November or December before we even receive a single drop of rain. And therefore we have to adapt to that, move our planting dates, planting season. And that also cause a lot of challenges. Erratic rainfall and droughts. We have a lot of rainfall that causes flooding, and then few weeks or months after flooding, and then it's a long period of drought. We don't have water for irrigating. So this is all impact of climate change in agriculture. We will also look at the effect of climate change on the spread of animal and plant diseases, the impact on pest diseases and food security. And then in the third day of the training, we will now be looking at building climate resilience through sustainable practices. This is about what farmers can do to mitigate climate change or fit within the changing climate, instead of sitting down and say, climate, it's no longer allowing my farm, it's now no longer productive. So there are things that we can do around the changing climate to feed our agricultural activities to be productive. So the theme for the third day will be adapting to climate changing, adapting to changing conditions. So we will be looking at the principles and strategies of climate resilience farming, water management and conservation, as well as interactive activity in designing rainwater harvesting models. Because in cases where you have floods, there is a lot of rain, but you find that in most cases, farmers, if a week after a lot of rain, they struggle to even irrigate their crops because they don't have water, whereas they could have harvested that rain. So we'll also be looking at different models of rainwater harvesting, soil health and fertility management, crop and livestock diversification for climate change resilience. And I will be offering this specific course, but we do have 3 other courses that we'll be offering as TUT, which includes farm management for income generation. We'll also have another course on agrotourism, and the third one on food value chain. Thank you so much.